let's listen in now to launch control.
Verifying now that the main engines are in their start position.
For ET, LO2 pressurization.
Starting now the retraction of the gaseous oxygen vent arm, vent hood.
TLT, OTC, clear caution warning memory, verify no unexpected errors.
Fuel cells going to internal.
Notice she said no unexpected errors.
OTC, PLT, no unexpected errors. Copy that. Flight crew, OTC, close and lock your visors and initiate O2 flow.
T-minus 2 minutes.
What's the same for ET, LH2 pressurization?
Solid rocket booster camera is being activated. Sound suppression water system is being armed. T-minus 1 minute.
Hope nothing goes wrong.
Oxygen and liquid hydrogen fill and drain valves are closed. T-minus 40 seconds, handing off to Atlantis' computers at T-minus 31. T-minus 35, 33.
T-minus 31 seconds due to a failure.
And we have had a failure. Ground lock sequencer.
Identity ESP. Go ahead. Yes, sir. We need guys to go do the verification for the LCC, please. All right, C-Mac?
Yes, C-Mac. The LCC says we need to verify using a camera, and we're positioning camera 62 right now.
Okay, let us know as soon as 62 is flown over. You can verify LCC for GVA retract, please.
And also now we're holding here 31 seconds while we did a verification that the GVA has fully retracted. Correctly planned. This is C-Mac. We verify retracted. Okay, and you can verify that it is fully retracted per the instructions that were being released about, correct? That's correct. All right, and STE?
And STE concurs. They satisfy the requirements of GSC 13 pre-plan contingency. I'm go.
Okay, I copy. And launch director. Yes, sir. I heard all that. Concur. Press on. All right, very good.
STE?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I need concurrence to GLS and ask to clear the hold, please.
Very good. And GLS, you have concurrence? Go.
Copy that. It didn't work.
Thank you. Let us know when that's complete.
Wow.
STE, we have it work?
All right, guys. Just reminder for folks, our documentary hold time is 3 minutes and 16 seconds.
STE, GLS 1212, we're ready to go.
All right, very good. And launch director, with that cleanup, we're going to go ahead and proceed. Yes, sir. Please do. All right. And all personnel, we are going to pick up the clock here momentarily. And GLS, you can resume the clock on your mark.
I copy that. Countdown clock will resume on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
T-minus
Go. Auto sequence start.
Handoff to Atlantis' computers has occurred. Solid rocket booster nozzle steering check and work.
20.
Firing chain is armed.
15.
Go for main engine start. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. The final liftoff of Atlantis on the shoulders of the space shuttle. America will continue the dream.
Roger roll, Atlantis. Houston now controlling the flight of Atlantis. The space shuttle spreads its wings one final time for the start of a sentimental journey into history. 24 seconds into the flight, roll program complete. Atlantis now heads down, wings level on the proper alignment for its 8.5-minute ride to orbit. 4.5 million pounds of hardware and humans taking aim on the International Space Station. 40 seconds into the flight, the three liquid fuel main engines throttling back to 72% of rated performance in the bucket, reducing stress on the shuttle as it goes transonic for the final time. Engines now revving up, standing by for the throttle up call.
It's so cool.
Atlantis, go and throttle up, no action, DTDT.
No action on DTDT.
That call from Capcom Barry Wilmore, a transducer, instrumentation only, no action required. Atlantis now 15 miles in altitude, already 16 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center, 1 minute 40 seconds into the flight. Atlantis flexing its muscles one final time. Atlantis traveling almost 2,600 miles an hour, 21 miles in altitude, 24 miles downrange, standing by for solid rocket booster separation. Booster officer confirms staging a good solid rocket booster separation. Guidance now converging. The main engine steering the shuttle on a pinpoint path to its preliminary orbit. 2 minutes, 20 seconds into the flight. Atlantis already traveling 3,200 miles an hour, 35 miles in altitude, 50 miles downrange. The propulsion officer reports the orbital maneuvering system engines have ignited. Atlantis kicking on its afterburners for 1 minute, 23 seconds for the final phase of powered flight. Atlantis, 2-engine TOW.
What?
Press to ATO, 10.8. Press to MECO, 14.7. That's a good read back, Atlantis. Because of the slightly late launch time, Capcom Barry Wilmore reading up to pilot Doug Hurley the updated abort boundaries for Atlantis, which is flying on the singular power of its 3 liquid fuel main engines, draining a half a ton of fuel per second from the shuttle's large fuel tank. 3.5 minutes into the flight, Atlantis traveling 4,200 miles an hour, 54 miles in altitude, already 120 miles downrange from the Kennedy Space Center. 3 good main engines, 3 good auxiliary power units, 3 good fuel cells for Atlantis. Atlantis, negative return.
Negative return.
That call from Capcom Barry Wilmore indicating that we're too high in altitude, too far downrange to return to the launch site in the event of an engine failure. However, Atlantis' 3 engines performing perfectly. 4 minutes, 20 seconds into the flight.
John listening in as well, and astronaut Katie Coleman is with us. Katie, in terms of what's happening now, what's going on?
Well, they've already gotten rid of the solid rocket boosters. We used up all the fuel, tossed